The Assembly will now come to order. The Chief Clerk will call the roll.
Assemblywoman Anderson, Assemblywoman Backus, Assemblywoman Bilbray Axelrod, Assemblywoman Brown May, Assemblyman Carter, Assemblywoman Cohen, Assemblywoman Considine, Assemblyman DeLong, Assemblywoman Dickman, Assemblyman De Silva, Assemblywoman Duran, Assemblywoman Gallant, Assemblywoman Gonzalez, Assemblywoman Gorlo, Assemblyman Gray, Assemblyman Gurr, Assemblyman Hafen, Assemblyman Hafen, Assemblywoman Hanson, Assemblywoman Hardy, Assemblyman Hibbets, Assemblywoman Howdigi, Assemblywoman Kasama, Assemblyman Koenig, Assemblywoman LaRue Hatch, Assemblywoman Marzola, Assemblyman MacArthur, Assemblywoman Brittany Miller, Assemblyman C.H. Miller, Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno, Assemblywoman Mosca, Assemblywoman Newby, Assemblyman Nguyen, Assemblyman O'Neill, Assemblyman Orent-Licker, Assemblywoman Peters, Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong, Assemblywoman Taylor, Assemblywoman Thomas, Assemblywoman Torres, Assemblyman Watts, Assemblyman Urick, Assemblyman Orent-Licker, Speaker Yeager.
Here. Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May the record show there is 41 members present, 1 absent, excused.
The record shall so reflect there are 41 members present, 1 absent, excused. That means we do have a quorum. Would members of the Assembly and their guests please rise for the prayer by Father Jeff Paul, St. Peter's Episcopal Church, from right here in Carson City.
Thank you, Speaker. I have a good friend who was born and raised in Bridgeport, whose great-grandfather had a place in Aurora. And in the late 1800s, no one could figure out whether Aurora was in California or Nevada. And so when California elections came around, the people of Aurora would vote. And when Nevada elections came around, guess what? The people of Aurora would vote. Whose district is that now? It's just east of Bridgeport. Like Hawthorne. Who would that be? Oh, your voters know how to roll. Take a nice deep breath. We brighten our souls today at the threshold of welcome, greeting of love, greeting of life, greeting of light. Inspire our hearts, our minds, our bodies this spring day. May our souls be peacefully preserved from crown of light to veil of night. We invoke blessing and protection upon this assembly, upon all who work herein. The people said, Huzzah. There you go.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You take care. You too.
Order of Business 2, reading and approval of the journal.
Carson City, Tuesday, March 21, 2020.
Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to dispense with reading of the journal and allow the Speaker and Chief Clerk to make any necessary corrections and additions.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Order of Business 4, reports of standing committees.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Education, to which was referred Assembly Bill 212, has had the similar consideration and begs you to report the same recommendation do pass. Shannon Bilbray Axelrod, Chair.
Order of Business 8, motions, resolutions, and notices.
Assembly Joint Resolution 6, introduced by Assemblyman Watts et al., Senators Harris et al., proposing to amend the Nevada Constitution to adopt the National Popular Vote Compact.
Assemblywoman Gorlo.
Thank you, Speaker. I move that AJR 6 be referred to your Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections.
Without objection, so referred. Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the persons listed on the Nevada Legislature's press accreditation list dated March 22nd, 2023 be accepted as the accredited press representatives assigned space at the press table in the Assembly chamber and allow the use the use of appropriate broadcasting facilities, and that the list be included in the day's journal.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Assemblywoman Howdegi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw Assembly Bill 321 from your Committee on Commerce and Labor. 1 minute recess, Mr. Speaker.
1 minute recess. The Assembly will come back to order. Assemblywoman Howdegi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw Assembly Bill 340 from your Committee on Commerce and Labor.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Assemblywoman Howdegi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to re-refer Assembly Bill 340 to your Committee on Judiciary.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Can we get a 1 minute recess, Assemblywoman?
1 minute recess, Mr. Speaker.
1 minute recess. The Assembly will come back to order. We will go to Order Business 9, Introduction, First Reading, and Reference of Bills.
Assembly Bill 370, introduced by Assemblyman Hanson et al., Senator Hanson, an act relating to elections requiring each form for an application to pre-register or register to vote the system established by the Secretary of State to register to vote by computer, and each automatic voter registration system to allow a person registering to vote or updating his or her registration information to elect not to receive a mail ballot or only receive a mail ballot for certain elections, authorizing a person to affirmatively decline to have his or her voter registration information sent by a voter registration agency through the automatic voter registration system and providing other measures properly laid thereto. Assembly Bill 371, introduced by Assemblywoman Cohen et al., Senator Orangel, an act relating to parentage, adopting provisions from the Uniform Parentage Act, revising provisions relating to the establishment of a parent and child relationship and the presumption of parentage, establishing provisions concerning the voluntary acknowledgement of parentage and denial of parentage by certain persons, authorizing the State Board of Health to adopt regulations relating to an acknowledgement of parentage or denial of parentage, establishing provisions governing genetic testing or in proceedings to adjudicate parentage, establishing and revising various provisions relating to the proceedings to adjudicate parentage, authorizing a person who claims to be a de facto parent of a child to be adjudicated as the parent of the child in certain circumstances, authorizing a court to adjudicate a child to have more than two parents in certain circumstances, establishing and revising provisions relating to assisted reproduction and gestational agreements, providing for the right of a gestational carrier to make all healthcare decisions regarding the gestational carrier and the pregnancy of the gestational carrier, repealing various provisions relating to parentage, providing penalty, and providing other matters properly laid thereto. Assembly Bill 372, introduced by the Committee on Education, an act relating to higher education, authorizing the Board of Regents of the University of Nevada to enter into an agreement with certain entities to provide certain educational tools to families and caretakers, and providing other matters properly laid thereto. Assembly Bill 373, introduced by Assemblyman Gorlo et al., an act relating to deceptive trade practices, increasing civil and criminal penalties for engaging in a deceptive trade practice, directed toward an elderly person, revising the statute of limitations for engaging in a deceptive trade practice, and providing other measures properly laid thereto. Assembly Bill 374, introduced by Assemblyman Gurr et al., Senators Goycochea et al., an act relating to athletics, requiring the Nevada Interscholastic Activities Association to adopt rules and regulations requiring each interscholastic activity or event to be designated based on biological sex, requiring the Board of Regents of the University of Nevada to adopt a policy requiring each interscholastic sport or athletic event that is sanctioned or sponsored by a university, state college, or community college within the Nevada system of higher education to be designated based on biological sex, requiring each organization for youth sports that sanctions or sponsors competitive sports for youth in the state to adopt a policy requiring each youth sport to be designated based on biological sex, defining certain terms and providing other matters properly laid thereto. Assembly Bill 375, introduced by Assemblywoman Dickman, an act relating to civil actions, revising the definition of the term, quote, good faith communication in furtherance of the right to petition or the right to free speech in direct connection with an issue of public concern, end of quote, clarifying the burden of proof in a special motion to dismiss based upon the right to petition and the right to free speech under certain circumstances, authorizing the recovery of treble damages under certain circumstances, and providing other measures properly laid thereto. Assembly Bill 376, introduced by the Committee on Government Affairs, an act relating to state employment, establishing provisions governing the family leave for certain state employees under certain circumstances, and providing other measures properly laid thereto. Assembly Bill 377, introduced by the Committee on Government Affairs, an act relating to public employees deeming under certain circumstances a bailiff or deputy marshal to be a local government employee of a county in which he or she is appointed for the purposes of collective bargaining for local government employees, setting forth certain restrictions on collective bargaining between the county and an employee organization which represents bailiffs or deputy marshals, revising the definition of supervisory employee for purposes of collective bargaining for local government and state employees to include persons who provide civilian support services to a law enforcement agency, and providing other matters properly laid thereto. Assembly Bill 378, introduced by the Committee on Government Affairs, and act relating to public employees, revising certain deadlines relating to the negotiation, mediation, and arbitration of collective bargaining agreements with the executive department of the state government, and providing other matters properly laid thereto. Assembly Bill 379, introduced by the Committee on Government Affairs and Act relating to confidential information, revising provisions related to the manner in which certain members of the judiciary and court personnel may request certain personal information be kept in a confidential manner, and providing other measures appropriately thereto. Assembly Bill 380, introduced by the Committee on Judiciary and Act relating to gaming, providing for the establishment by the Nevada Gaming Commission of a list of persons whose interactive gaming accounts have been suspended or banned for cheating, and providing other measures appropriately thereto. Assembly Bill 381, introduced by the Committee on Judiciary and Act relating to guardianship, revising various provisions relating to certain petitions regarding guardianships, revising various provisions relating to a guardian ad litem, authorizing a protected person or proposed protected person to object to certain petitions, revising provisions relating to the termination or modification of a guardianship, revising provisions relating to the rights of a protected person, making various other changes relating to guardianships, and providing other measures relating thereto. Assembly Bill 382, introduced by Assemblyman Torres et al., Senators Doñate and Nguyen, an act making an appropriation to the Immigration Clinic at the William S. Boyd School of Law at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, for the purpose of expanding the provision of pro bono legal services relating to the immigration law and providing other measures relating thereto. Assembly Bill 383, introduced by Assemblyman Torres et al., Senator Harris, an act relating to healthcare, prohibiting a governmental entity from substantially burdening certain activity relating to contraception under certain circumstances, authorizing a person whose engagement in such activity has been so burdened to assert the violation as a claim of defense in a judicial proceeding, authorizing a court to award damages against a governmental entity that substantially burdens such activity in certain circumstances, expanding required insurance coverage of contraception, and providing other measures relating thereto. Assembly Bill 384, introduced by Assemblyman Hayfen, an act relating to motor vehicles, authorizing automobile records to authorize the sale of certain vehicles at certain consignment auctions, and providing other measures relating thereto. Assembly Bill 385, introduced by Assemblyman Hayfen, an act relating to education, revising provisions governing the eligibility of pupils for a grant under the Nevada Educational Choice Scholarship Program, establishing a minimum amount for a grant provided by a scholarship organization on behalf of a pupil, revising provisions governing the amount of credits the Department of Taxation is authorized to approve against the modified business tax for taxpayers who donate money to a scholarship organization, establishing a credit against the general tax on insurance premiums for insurers who donate money to a scholarship organization, and providing other measures relating thereto. Assembly Bill 386, introduced by Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno, an act relating to midwives, establishing the Board of Licensed Certified Professional Midwives and requiring the Board to adopt certain regulations, requiring the Division of Public and Behavioral Health for the Department of Health and Human Services to perform certain tasks relating to the regulation of licensed certified professional midwives, providing for the licensure of licensed certified professional midwives, authorizing the a certified professional midwife to utilize a certified professional midwife birth assistant under certain circumstances, prescribing requirements relating to the practice of certified professional midwifery, requiring any midwife who provides services in the state to provide to clients a community birth disclosure, authorizing a licensed certified professional midwife to possess, administer, and order certain drugs, devices, chemicals, and solutions, creating a special endorsement, authorizing a licensed certified professional midwife to order, dispense, and implant certain devices, creating a special endorsement, authorizing a licensed certified professional midwife to possess, administer, prescribe, and dispense certain drugs, exempting a licensed certified professional midwife and other providers of health care from certain liability, requiring Medicaid to cover services of a licensed certified professional midwife, authorizing a licensed certified professional midwife to serve as the director of a freestanding birthing center, providing penalty, and providing other measures relating thereto.
Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Assembly Bills 370 through 386 be referred to the committees as listed on the Assembly Bill Introductions list dated March 22nd, 2023, and all members have a copy of this list on their desk.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Order of Business 11, second reading and amendment.
Assembly Bill 18, introduced by the Committee on Government Affairs and Act relating to governmental administration, revising the definitions of certain terms related to the provision of information services to using agencies by the Division of Enterprise Information Technology Services of the Department of Administration, revising the composition of the division, and providing other matters relating thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 16, end of Section 16, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
The bill is ordered to general file.
Assembly Bill 84, introduced by the Committee on Natural Resources, an act relating to state lands requiring the Division of State Parks and of the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to issue free of charge an annual permit for entering, camping, and boating in all state parks and recreational areas to members of certain Indian tribes under certain circumstances, and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 2, end of Section 2, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
The bill is ordered to general file.
Assembly Bill 92, introduced by Assemblyman Koenig, an act relating to counties, authorizing a Board of County Commissioners to create by ordinance the office of County Council, providing for the appointment of a County Council, establishing the qualifications of a County Council, authorizing a County Council to appoint deputies and certain other staff, setting forth the powers and duties of a County Council, revising the responsibilities of the District Attorney when the office of County Council is created, and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 143, end of Section 143, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
The bill is ordered to general file.
Assembly Bill 131, introduced by Assemblyman Cohen et al., an act relating to forestry, creating the urban and community forestry program within the Division of Forestry of the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, setting forth the powers and duties of the State Forester Fire Warden and the division relating to the program, authorizing the State Forester Fire Warden to award grants to promote urban and community forestry, and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 10, end of Section 10, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
The bill is ordered to general file. Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Order of Business 8, Mr. Speaker.
Order of Business 8.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that we re-refer Assembly Bill 84 from its place on general file and move it to the Ways and Means Committee.
Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno has moved that we re-refer Assembly Bill 84 to the Committee on Ways and Means. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Order of Business 12, general file and third reading.
Assembly Bill 36, introduced by the Committee on Government Affairs, an act relating to veterans, adding certain members to the Interagency Council on Veterans Affairs, revising certain data submitted to the Council, removing a requirement that the Council develop and administer a fellowship program, revising the time period to which certain reports pertain, revising the duties of the Women Veterans Advisory Committee, and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 7, end of Section 7, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks. Assemblyman De Silva.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 36 adds 3 ex officio members to the Interagency Council on Veterans Affairs: the Attorney General, the Superintendent of Public Instruction, and the Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Workforce Innovation. The measure revises certain reporting requirements for certain state agencies and regulatory bodies and deletes the requirement that the Council develop and administer a certain fellowship program. The measure changes from calendar year to fiscal year as the reporting timeline for certain reports that are submitted to the Council and the Nevada Veteran Services Commission. Certain outreach and reporting requirements relating to Women's Veterans Advisory Committee are also changed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Are there any further remarks? Seeing none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Would anyone like to change their vote? The Chief Clerk will record the vote. There are 41 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent excuse. The bill, having received a constitutional majority, to declare it passed and order transmitted to the Senate.
Assembly Bill 43, introduced by the Committee on Education, an act relating to emergency management, revising certain deadlines relating to school emergency operations plans, and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 4, end of Section 4, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks. Assemblyman MacArthur.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 43 revises several dates related to school emergency operation plans. Specifically, each development committee for such plans must provide an updated plan to the Board of Trustees of a school district or to the governing body of a charter school or private school as applicable on or before August 1st of each year. The bill further changes from July 1st to August 15th the date by which these entities must submit the plan to the Division of Emergency Management of the Office of the Military and for private schools to local public safety agencies and emergency management organizations. Finally, the Chief of the Division of Emergency Management must report certain compliance information to the Superintendent of Public Instruction of Nevada's Department of Education on or before November 15th rather than August 15th. Thank you.
Are there any further remarks? Seeing none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Would anyone like to change their vote? The Chief Clerk will record the vote. There are 41 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent excuse. The bill having received a constitutional majority, I declare it passed and order transmitted to the Senate.
Assembly Bill 47, introduced by the Committee on Growth and Infrastructure, an act relating to off-highway vehicles, revising provisions governing public trails for the operation of off-highway vehicles and providing other matters properly relating thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in the Senate and Assembly do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks. Assemblywoman Brown-May.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 47 provides that a governmental entity is not prohibited from constructing, operating, or maintaining a trail for use by off-highway vehicles that is adjacent to or near a highway, including without limitation a paved highway.
Are there any further remarks? Seeing none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Would anyone like to change their vote? The Chief Clerk will record the vote. There are 41 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent excused. The bill having received a constitutional majority, declare it passed and order transmitted to the Senate.
Assembly Bill 68, introduced by the Committee on Judiciary, an act relating to juvenile justice, revising the manner in which the assessment imposed on certain counties for the operation of a regional facility for the treatment and rehabilitation of children is calculated, and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 2, end of Section 2, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks. Assemblywoman Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 68 revises the formula used to calculate the assessment owed by each county for the operation of a regional facility for the treatment and rehabilitation of children.
Are there any further remarks? Seeing none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Would anyone like to change their vote? The Chief Clerk will record the vote. There are 41 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent excuse. The bill having received a constitutional majority, I declare it passed and ordered transmitted to the Senate. Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Assembly Bill 78, 82, 107, 124, 163, 215, 231 be taken from their place on general file and be placed on general file of the next legislative day.
Assemblywoman Howdigi has moved that the remaining bills on general file be taken from their place on general file and placed on general file for the next legislative day. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Order Business 15, remarks from the floor. We'll start with Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could I have everyone from Nevada State University stand up? Today, we are excited to celebrate Nevada State College students and staff who are here today. We are excited to celebrate the 20th anniversary this year in Nevada State that has provided exceptional high education to the Southern Nevada community. For the past 2 decades, since its establishment as Nevada's first state college on September 3rd, it's a great month, it's my birthday month, don't y'all forget that, with only a little over 200 students, growing to over 7,200 and graduating its largest class ever in 2022. Nevada State has achieved significant recognition as a minority-serving institution, Hispanic-serving institution, and Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander institution, providing critical opportunities to underserved student population and has demonstrated a strong commitment to academic excellence. Now offering more than 45 degree programs in fields such as education, nursing, business, psychology, amongst others. I am so excited to give this proclamation to my friend, by the legislature of the state of Nevada that we recognize and celebrate the achievements of Nevada State during its 20th anniversary and commend the faculty, the staff, the students for their unwavering commitment to academic excellence, diversity, equity, and community engagement. Please make them feel welcome in our house.
Assemblywoman Gonzalez.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. If everyone with the Nevada Housing Justice Alliance can stand, please, so that y'all can be recognized. The Nevada Housing Justice Alliance is a coalition of grassroots organizers and community advocates who work directly with Nevada tenants to develop solutions and advocate for community investments that solve the root causes of housing insecurity. They believe housing is a human right and that homes serve a higher purpose than just shelter. They are thrilled to gather tenants and community members from across the state to be here at the legislature today. And through their collective efforts, they are advocating and helping directly impacted tenants for fighting for tenant protections, neighborhood stability, and eviction reform. If we can all give them a warm welcome. Thank you.
Assemblyman O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Stand up. I have with me a special guest today, Catherine Villasenora. Although she hails from Minden and is a Bishop Minot graduate, she is currently at UNR studying as a freshman, studying political science. During 2022, she participated in several campaign supports. She has a very keen interest in Nevada history, although she's not a native, and I ask that we all give her a warm welcome to this body.
Assemblywoman Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today, it is my honor to be joined by students and scholars from the University of Nevada International Center. If you would all please stand up. Also, the people in the gallery. These students and scholars come from more than 89 different countries, and they study as well as teach, as well as do research at the University of Nevada in Reno. Some of the countries that are represented today include India, China, Ireland, Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, Thailand, Brazil, Rwanda, Kenya, Iran, and Afghanistan. I want to do a special thank you as well to our Chief Clerk Furlong, as well as the incredible and amazing manager of our Health and Human Services Committee, as both had a chance to speak with them earlier today. Please help me make them feel welcome at the People's House of the Nevada Legislature.
Assemblywoman Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to introduce everyone to Rosie Downey, who's interning this session. It's a really awkward way. Who's interning this session in my office. Rosie is a senior at the University of Nevada, Reno, and majoring in geography with an emphasis in climate, water, and ecosystems, and has a minor in political science, specializing in public administration, and is expecting to graduate in spring of 2024. Next semester, she's studying abroad in Sweden. She's originally from the Bay Area, but chose to come to Nevada because, of course, and to experience the diverse natural resources of our state. When she graduates from UNR, she's interested in community organizing and community development. She wants to tackle the environmental issues that face our world today and their direct relation to government, and we're really thankful to have her in our office, so please stop by to say hi to her when she's in the office, and please make her feel welcome.
Assemblywoman Considine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As well, since it is spring break, I would like to introduce the intern for our office for Assembly District 18. This is Shara Mellon. Sarah Mellon. She grew up in the Bay Area as well. She is a UNR student. She's a senior. She is creating her own degree with 2 minors in public policy and environmental policy. Her future plans include becoming an environmental attorney in the future. She's doing some great work. If you've seen her in some of the committee hearings, and I've thrown a ton of research projects at her, so please be kind and welcome her today. Thank you.
Assemblyman Wynn.
Hello, hi. Can you hear me now? Okay, so thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am blessed as a freshman to be visited by so many of constituents of District 8, so just want to make sure that we recognize them and make them feel welcome. I have Omar Salcedo here as Director of External Affairs for AT&T, awesome constituent who I've known for a long time. Regent Heather Brown, who recently elected to the Nevada System of Higher Education, and of course, Mary Dungan, who's also a constituent. So blessed to have a lot of constituent visits. So I just want to make sure that they feel welcome at this body. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Assemblyman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On today, I have a special guest with me from First Med Health and Wellness. They operate 3 clinics in the Las Vegas area. One happens to be in the amazing Assembly District 7, what I represent. With me today, I have sitting with me Maisha Wilson, Chief Operating Officer of First Med Health and Wellness. Ms. Wilson, would you please stand for me? And who else do you have with you? And we have Chief Medical Officer Lenitra Grady. Would you all make them feel welcome? Thank you.
Assemblyman Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I'd like to welcome a guest. Today I'm joined by Shivangi Karanya. When she was a master's student at UNLV, she founded her own startup, Udeso. Udeso assists small businesses with licensing renewals with an emphasis on women and minority-owned businesses in the food and beverage industry. Udeso helps these businesses collaborate and thrive together to better serve their communities, meeting its name and mission of conquering through community. Shivangi has since graduated from UNLV, expanded her vision for her business, and hopes to assist other small businesses all over Nevada and eventually across the nation. Would you please make her feel welcome? And additionally, Mr. Speaker, today is Bolo Tie Day here at the Nevada Legislature. The bolo, also referred to as the bola, the bootlace tie, the cowboy tie, or the gaucho tie, is a type of necktie with a string, usually with decorative ends, and a decorative sliding clasp. There are some different theories on the origin of it, although many folks agree that it was initially something like it was seen among Navajo, Hopi, and Zuni men, and was then modified into what it is today. Its casual, rugged look has turned it into a symbol of the Western spirit and has become a staple of Western wear. The bolo has also been designated as the official necktie of Arizona and New Mexico. Missed opportunity to my colleagues, it seems like, here. And I just want to recognize all of our colleagues in this body who decided to celebrate by wearing their bolo ties today. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any other order of business 15? Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Some announcements for the floor. Today is Nevada State College Legislative Day, and they do have some events in room 3100, so please stop by. We also have with us the Nevada Housing Justice Alliance Advocacy Day, and there is a legislative reception today at Great Basin Brewery from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. with the Nevada Realtors. This evening from 5 to 6 p.m., please join us in room 3142 for Women and Retirement Savings, an educational seminar that was actually put on by your Senate Majority Leader, your Assembly Speaker Pro Temp, and your Assembly Majority Leader. So please join us again from 5 to 6 p.m. Seeing no other business, Mr. Speaker, I move that we stand adjourned until Thursday, March 23rd at the hour of 11:30 a.m.
Assemblywoman Howdige has moved that the Assembly stand adjourned until Thursday, March 23rd, 2023 at the hour of 11:30 a.m. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.